Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be Dirtbag Shit podcast. Peace and welcome to the DBS podcast, aka the Chacon Show. This week, I'm joined by a very good friend and comedian, Mr. Rich Schultis.
Thanks
What's
for having
happening,
me, man.
Daddy-o?
It only took you guys don't notice, it took him 3 takes to get that opening monologue.
Yo!
You got a 13-second opening monologue that you probably say before every show, and he actually has to get psyched before. He has to breathe, do yoga.
I mean, listen, I just came out the acupuncturist bed, so I'm feeling a little zenned out. I'm feeling a little centered, and I don't know, I'm not feeling as alive. I feel more like subdued right now, so I'm gonna have to dig up for some energy. I'm gonna have to take a sip of your coffee that you didn't discard, that you just left on my the front desk.
I put it over there, so I didn't knock it over.
You know what? You're an animal.
I'm not like your other guests who don't care. They leave the shit on the table, they spill it. I don't do that.
You look like the type of dude that rides a city bike but doesn't have an active bank account.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because there's a whole line of city bikes in front of my apartment, and one of the locks on them is busted.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually took that city bike. I was going to use it to drive around with, but I ended up selling it. So
And that's some dirtbag shit.
that's some
Boom, boom, boom,
dirtbag
boom,
shit.
boom.
There you go. That's why I'm here on the show.
Uh-huh. Did you watch the fight this past weekend? Gypsy King against Wilder?
I just got a lot of the highlights of it. But it actually looked like, from what I seen and from what I heard, that it was a good heavyweight fight, that they went back and forth.
Some are saying it was the best heavyweight fight of all time.
Oh, well, here, maybe in the sense that at their skill level, it was the best. It might have been very good in that, there was a lot of back and forth. It was probably a good fight. But the best of all time, impossible, because of
It's subjective, too.
I think it's subjective, but I think you know this, if you put either one of those guys back in the 80s, early 90s.
Who do you think beats Tyson Fury with his size, his awkwardness, his slipping, his jab? Who do you think could beat Tyson
now
Fury?
Or in
all
the
time?
Oh man, I would say
Like right off the bat, who do you think?
Ali, Foreman, Tyson, Big Daddy Bo.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that. Who was it? I was talking to someone that said that Riddick Bowe would give him problems because of his height and size.
Because he's elusive. Don't get me wrong, for a big guy like that, but a guy like Ali would have picked him up. Foreman would have walked right through him in his heyday. Tyson, didn't matter how tall you were with Tyson, he was going to chop. You can do all that head movement, but Tyson would hit you.
He would go up and down, Tyson, side to side.
I don't think, from what I saw, and I always thought that Wilder was overrated. Like, I would watch him coming up, and I would see his style, and he would put people to sleep, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they had the skill. I don't think a lot of them had the chin, and he was open a lot, man. He gives other opponents a lot of openings, and
he gives you a lot of openings.
Yeah, no one took advantage.
He crossed his feet a lot.
Yeah, that's another. Yes, he got terrible
left hand down.
Terrible,
but he had
footwork.
that equalizer, right? He had that one shot.
He would put you to sleep,
man.
He would
stretch you out with that right hand. He put a lot of men down with that.
Yeah,
right
there
hand.
was a lot of guys who had that coming up. You had Foreman was doing it to people.
But Foreman had defense. He had those blocks, those cross blocks.
That's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of people who had that power. I mean, they say Ernie Shavers, all those guys coming up from the 70s and 80s, Ali, Norton, any of them you talk to, said he was the hardest hitter, bar none.
Ernie Shavers.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think a guy named Ernie would hit hard.
Right, but apparently
he hit hard. My name is Ernie.
Yeah.
And he could move a fucking Mack truck with his left hook.
Yeah, and he was just one of those guys that they all said he could hit hard, but he didn't have everything else. He didn't have what the other guys had. And I think that's Wilder is. When I first seen him, I was going, this guy's a heavyweight, because I don't follow boxing like I used to. And, it's just weird because I remember, like, in the 1980s, I could tell you the first 5.
And then you see Wilder crossing his feet, his hands down, swinging like helicopter punches.
He was
like very wide hooks.
Right, he was fighting Luis. Was it the Spanish guy? Am I getting the name right?
Yeah, a Cuban guy.
Yeah, big guy.
Who no one knows his age. They say he's like 172 years old.
I think he fought he might have fought Jack Dempsey. I'm not sure. But
right.
He was. I was watching that fight, and I was going, and they were going. I was going. What is going on here?
Did they have to fill in the opponent? Is that the real guy that's supposed to be fighting Louis?
Right. I just kept on going. Wait, now what is this guy? Looks. I've seen guys out of shape before. I went, this guy looks horrendously out of shape, and he was giving Wilder a hard time there for a little while.
Yeah, he's elusive, man.
Yeah, and I was going, who is this? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's the heavyweight champion of the world. And I said, man, and maybe I'm a little jaded. I mean, I was lucky. I came up in the golden era. I don't, you can say the 40s and 50s, but you look at the 80s. There, you can come up with names. I was just thinking the other day, guys like Virgil Hill, they were so nasty when they came up. They were probably only listed as maybe the 25th to 26th best fighter of their, of that era. That era had Duran. People forget about how good Camacho was. Camacho beat Duran twice. People forget all those things. You had Sugar Ray. Leonard,
Camacho was from Spanish Harlem.
Yeah.
Had the Superman curl right down the middle of his forehead.
Yep. Had the great outfits that he'd come in with. He was
Matt flamboyant.
Yeah.
Fast.
Oh, ridiculous.
Fast.
Ridiculous. And he ended Sugar Ray's career. Well, Sugar Ray's career was already over, but he came back after that 6-year layover and fought Camacho. And, I think obviously Sugar Ray in his heyday, he's beaten anybody. He's beaten Camacho. But,
it was towards the end of it.
Well, it was past the end. I think he came back after a 6-year layoff, after he had beat Hagler. But, Davey Moore, Rand Barkley. You remember Rand Barkley? I think he was I think he's homeless living in the Bronx now. But these guys were all nasty, and the thing was back then, they all
fought each other.
Right, and there was no...
Remember, hold off, because you're saying some interesting names. Remember Davey Moore? I mean, he was a promising young fighter, and he was like a guy that everyone was looking at as a problem. Like, oh, he's going to take over the division. And unfortunately, Roberto, Hands of Stones, Durant put an end to that shit.
Gave him a
beating. It was bad.
Beating. And that's why he was, supposedly, you know the story on that, right? Supposedly he was friends with Iran Barkley. They were very good friends.
Davey Moore.
Davey Moore was. And you remember this, too. In that fight, he got thumbed in the eye. Now, whether he would have done better,
thumbed in the eye?
Davey Moore. If you remember that fight, at the end of the fight, his eye looked like he had a pillow in it.
This was after Roberto Duran he had Roberto Duran hadn't fought Iran Barkley yet.
Hadn't fought him yet.
Right, so he beat Davey Moore's ass, and then Iran Barkley wanted to avenge his friend's loss.
And beat his ass.
Yeah, and Duran fought him at a higher weight.
Right.
He fought him like a 160.
Yeah, well, Duran, they say, walked around like 180, 190.
Yeah, he was like Ricky Fountain.
Yeah,
he would blow up.
Yeah, he would, but
he liked his burgers. He liked his burgers, cocaine, and Coronas.
That's right, and he lived the life. But
probably not Coronas. He's from Panama. He probably drank Modelo. What do you think? If you had to guess, Roberto Duran's beer of choice.
Did they had a? Did Panama have a?
Maybe.
Did they make a beer?
I mean, I told you to keep your phone down so you can look this shit up. Come on.
That's what I had the glasses.
I'm about to flip this table over. If you don't think I can flip this oak table over, you got another thing coming. I'm young and strong like a bull.
That ain't what I heard. You can't even do a marathon now. Guy can't even run a marathon. He goes 6 miles. His knee hurts. How old are you? 42?
I'm 42, man.
Shit. When I was 42, I was still sweet, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely feeling the training. I'm doing well, but there's a tweak in the knee. I'm going to figure it out. I think I just need to work on my glutes. So I'm going to be in the middle of Tompkins Square Park doing bridges like that, making eye contact with strangers.
Or you know what you do? Just do sissy squats, but ones where you put your hand throw your hands way out like that.
Who says sissy squats?
That's what they are.
For anyone not watching it and listening, he just told his age right now.
What, sissy squats? They don't call them sissy squats anymore? What are they called? Unweighted squats? What are they called?
I guess they're just air squats. There's no just regular squats.
You know what?
Without weights.
It's funny because
you'll get in trouble in the gym. Hold off.
If I said sissy squats in the gym now?
You get canceled, right?
Really?
Yeah, but if you also said, "Oh, don't give me girl push-ups." Whoa.
What are girl push-ups? The one on your knees?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've never called them girl push-ups.
Assisted push-ups.
I called them knee push-ups.
Yeah. Knee push-ups.
I'll tell you a funny story. When my son was about He had to be right around 14. So I was, obviously in my late 30s by then, and I was in fairly good shape. And I'd go to the gym, we'd go to the gym and we'd be benching, some good marks, and
You and your 14-year-old son.
Yeah, well, no, my friends.
Okay.
And my son would come with me. My son wasn't very athletic and not in very good shape, so I just remember.
And you called him a sissy.
No, I never called him a sissy. I might have called him a sissy, but in a, in an endearing way. So I'm benching with my buddies. My buddies are all doing 340, 320. I think at the time I was doing probably somewhere near about 300. So we walk out, and there's my 14-year-old son sitting in the middle of the gym doing knee-assisted push-ups and struggling. And we kind of walk up to him. He goes, "Hey, Dad, how am I doing?" I could just see the look on my friend's face. They're just like, "Oh man, just like, you're doing good, boy."
Your friend didn't cheer him on and say,
No.
"Yeah, you're doing great."
They didn't have that back then. They didn't do that back then. Yeah, now they would be going, "Oh, keep it up. You're doing." Back then they're going, "What the fuck is the story on you, man? This is your son? You better keep an eye on him. He's soft." But it's funny.
He didn't inherit the same workout ethic that you have.
I don't have a very good workout ethic.
I don't know. Every time we hit the road, we're working out.
Yeah. But I only do it to impress you. But I don't know if you've noticed this. Every couple of years when we do that, you notice how my strength and my endurance level is tumbling.
You know what? I haven't. I remember we ran. I don't remember that, but now I'll keep a close eye.
But
on
I
you.
couldn't run like you were in real good shape that time. We ran in Poughkeepsie. We ran over the Hudson River thing. Yeah, that was real nice. But I remember
Remember we ran over that bridge and the sun was setting, and then we held hands. Remember that? It was
then
beautiful.
we did sissy squats together and knee-assisted push-ups.
All you saw was our silhouette just bouncing up and down, holding each other's hands.
It was
lovely.
nice. Well, now is this still? So you can't say sissy push-ups anymore.
Oh, I don't know. You can
Sissy
say whatever
squats,
you want, but I'm sure that someone will be up in arms.
Well, I was talking to somebody.
Sissy
I was showing this lady. Everybody wants to get into boxing. Everybody, but it's like anything else. If there's in shape and there's in fighting shape, and they're two completely different shapes. You know that. And anybody can punch the bag. I've seen it at the gym. You've seen it. I've been in the gym where people are jump roping like they're in a jump rope contest, hitting the speed bag all nice and pretty, real nice, making all the noise on the heavy bag. As soon as they get in the ring, man, as soon as they taste that leather, it's all over.
Yeah, it's different.
The amount of as soon as they get that, they're like, "Oh, what was that? Somebody just hit me in the face." So everybody wants to box, but no one really wants to box. You know that. So this lady's saying, "I'm going to train boxing." He wants me when I hit the bag to wrap my hand. So I said, "Here, if you're going to be, you really should hit the bag with a pair of boxing gloves on and wrap it up good." I said, the best things you should get are the Mexican wraps. She was, "You can't say that." And I went, "Well, say what?" She, "Why are you calling them Mexican wraps?" I go, "Well, that's
they're
what they're called."
Mexican wraps.
Yeah, I go,
it's also a style of rapping too, called there's a Mexican rap. And
Right.
It's like there's Mexican raps that come from Mexico.
Physical, right.
But then there's a way to wrap your hands like the Mexicans do. It's a style.
Oh, okay. I did not know, but
there's two different. Yeah, so
I always thought, but we'd call them Mexican wraps because there was just one. It's a real
really long.
wrap.
Yeah, they're great. They're the
right.
best raps.
So it means you can do your wrist, you can do your knuckles, and you can get them in between. There's enough that you're not using gauze and stuff. You can. It's just for if you're going to hit the bag, you're not going in to sparring anybody. I think it's. You should be proud of that. That's a proud.
Absolutely.
Whoever invented that, they should be proud that they invented that because it makes life easier. She's going, "Well, you gotta get." I went, "Well, I don't know. What do you want me to call them? The real long good raps? Is that better than saying the world has gone crazy?" The thing is, I don't know how it's got to be in the gyms. You're in the gyms now. I mean, I know in the gyms in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, and the 90s. I mean, there was no political correctness. I mean, you were called every name in the book. The N-word was flying all over the place. Everybody's being called a pussy.
whatever. No, that shit is a no-no.
You can't even in the gym now. So if you're in the gym, you can't say to somebody, "Come on, pussy."
Nah.
What happens when somebody gets rocked?
I mean,
if they get rocked and they want to stop now, you get rocked and you want to stop, and someone's going, "No, what did they yell?"
I'm sure it's still done.
Oh, okay.
But not in the gyms.
What are you? Are you in those politically correct gyms?
I'm in boutique fashion gyms.
Oh, is that what you're in now?
I am. That's
and the thing. It's so funny because you're a good sweet dude. I don't know if everybody knows this. He puts on this facade, but
No.
you can kick. No doubt about it. You kick my ass. No doubt about it. But the chances of you getting to that point are so much
I'm a
less
nice
likely
guy.
than me. Right. Have you ever punched anybody on the street?
I have been in a situation where I can remember the handful of times I was eating McDonald's. I had hair at this time. I had a temple fade and curly hair on top.
Oh, so this was
a long
back in
time
like
ago. I was like 21. I had a
1973?
button down. And a guy by the name of Fifi called me out. Fifi was like 10 years older than me.
Just came in McDonald's and said,
No,
let's
I was
do
eating
this?
McDonald's, but at his project park. So you know those concrete chess tables?
Yep.
I was eating McDonald's.
Where were you? Not
I was
Spanish
like on
Harlem.
Grand Street, like
Oh, okay.
around where I lived,
Okay.
where I used to live. And this guy comes out, and he's like, "Yo, I'm the foundation, and if you don't share your food, I'm gonna eat your food."
What was he? What do you think he was in prison?
Yeah, it was
What, he did
weird.
Sing Sing?
It was jarring, and all and all the young
Right,
kids.
it wasn't. Everybody else who must have seen it had to be laughing. It was so
Oh,
absurd.
so everyone was much younger, right?
Right.
So I was like 21. Yeah, they were in their mid-teens, some later teens, and he kept on talking, man. He was like, "Yeah, man, if you don't share your food, I'm gonna eat your food. And here I'm the foundation. People respect me. So when you finish eating your McDonald's, I want you to get the fuck out, or I'm knocking you out." He was talking like that.
So he was just going from one thing to another,
Yeah.
right?
So I went
I
home.
wonder if he was insane.
He was drunk. He was definitely drunk.
Oh, okay.
Come closer to the mic.
Okay.
So I go home, and remember, you ever watch Boys in the Hood?
Yeah.
Where Cuba Gooding Jr. got harassed by the cops, and he punching, like he's shadow boxing, like punching the air, and his girlfriend's like, "Stop! And he's like, "No, man, yeah." I went into my apartment, and I started punching. I was
Oh, you
pissed.
had your own apartment?
Yeah.
Oh, you were living alone? You let a guy... you were living alone? You let a guy punk you like that?
Wait,
I thought you were like a kid still living with your mom.
No.
A grown man. You got punked.
So I go into the apartment. I changed my shirt. I had a St. Ides shirt.
I couldn't handle it, right?
I could have.
Oh, I've been in that situation.
I hated the way I looked. I had the button down. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, I had a button down. I had like a little bit of McDonald's sauce on my lip. Like a little Big Mac sauce on my lip.
Yeah.
So I put on the cutoff glove. I found some cutoff gloves I had, like weightlifting gloves.
Right.
With the cutoff fingers.
Yeah.
I put those on, put the Velcro
Get yourself
strap
all
on.
psyched.
Yeah. And I went downstairs, and I also brought a dog leash with me, but it was a short-handled dog leash with a lock in the end. So I had like a prong where you pull it and it release, but it was a lock.
Right.
So I had that. I
So
had my
this
cut-off
was
gloves.
prison shit going on right out in the open.
Yeah.
One guy bitching you out, threatening to take your food,
But I could, yeah.
threatening to kick your ass, probably threatening to take your booty too. Probably
Right.
said something about taking your booty. You went back to your cell,
I went back to my
got
cell.
your shank. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And I went downstairs, and in my toughest voice, I said, "Yo!" My voice cracked. I was like, "Yo, you still wanted with me?" That's what I said. He turned
Just
around.
ready. Oh, he was still there.
He was still there.
He was
And
eating.
It was big.
He was
man.
eating the Big Mac you left him.
Yeah, he was eating like the leftover lettuce on the concrete chess table, and with everything I had, I threw a right hand, and it connected. One thing that gave me a little more momentum is that I was walking towards him. He looked like he didn't want to fight anymore.
Right.
I think he saw the I was
Happens all the time.
yeah, I was so mad.
Right.
I was so mad. And I went down and I one right hand and I knocked him. He fell on all fours. This is the worst part of it. And I kicked him in his ass while he was on all fours.
He probably deserved it.
Yeah, he was a bully. He was a fucking neighborhood bully. But
So
they
you
started
were-
to get up. And I
So
walked
you
out
were
of there.
kicking him in the ass?
I kicked him in the ass once. 2 punches and a kick in the ass.
And so when you got up, what did he do? When he got up, what'd you do?
Oh, when he got up, he sat on a concrete chair, by the chess table, and he was like rubbing his head like this, and there was little birds around us going,
Like a cartoon. You know what you should have done? You should have went and got Wendy's the next day, sat there and ate it on a thing, and when he went by, he should have went, "Yo, you want to fry?"
yeah, right.
So he didn't mess with you after that, though, right?
Well, the thing is, now there's a guy who lives right across the street from me. And all the young kids are like, you got the juice now, but you got to understand, this guy is crazy. And he was drunk.
He might be coming back.
Yes. So for months, I was like, fuck. And I bumped into him one time, and I had a radio, and I was blasting some Wu-Tang Clan. I had on flip-flops for socks.
Right.
Very vulnerable position.
Yeah. You could have hit him with the radio.
And I was like, what's up? And he was like, what's up? And then I was like, shit, he doesn't look like he's over this shit. So another time he was drunk. He's like, what up, what up? And then he kept on walking. Then I saw him another time he was sober, and he was delivering like sodas or something to, a deli.
You should have went and took his soda. Go, yo, I'm the foundation. When you come here, you give me your soda.
I want that tropical fantasy. I want that Pepsi. I want everything.
But yeah, well.
So I went up to him. I said, listen, man, we were drunk.
You weren't. You were just saying.
I was. I had a couple of drinks.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, "Yeah, but you took advantage." I was like, "It was a fight, you You were drunk. I was drunk. We fought, and I want to leave it as is." And when he said, "Yeah, it's peace," I was like,
"Yeah."
I didn't want those problems, man.
Yeah. No, I just. But you could take them. But that's the thing. You never. You're the type of guy who wouldn't start. You would walk away. You're like one of those. You're like one of those guys. Not like you are one of those guys. You know what you could do. Why do it? But even if you couldn't do it, you probably would still walk away because it's easier.
It's the best thing to do.
It's and people say I was just talking. It's funny. I was just talking to a young man. This kid grew up with my son when he was young. Now my son went in one direction, he went in another. The kid was always at the house. He didn't really have a father figure, so I was his father figure.
He was naughty.
So he was going to be fucked up if I'm his father figure. But
so he ended up being very naughty.
Yeah. So he ended up he went on his way. He did prison. So I just caught up with him the other day, and he's a wreck now. He's an alcoholic, and things ain't going his way. But his whole thing is that aggressiveness that he has now. He's almost a homeless dude, but he's just aggressive, and his whole thing is, going after people. He doesn't. And we're talking.
How old is he now?
39. He's my son's age. So he was, I was talking to him, and he goes, man, you can't show weakness. I said, bro, you ain't in prison no more. I said, it's a lot easier for a guy like you to fight because he's got nothing to lose. He's always been kind of aggressive. He's been big. He's always been athletic. And now he's got nothing to lose. Half his teeth are gone. It's not like, he's worried about anything physical. I said, if you're not afraid, people go, well, that guy's courageous. He's not afraid of anything. That's not courage. If you're not afraid of something,
crazy.
If you're not afraid to do certain things, then it doesn't take any courage to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like doing stand-up comedy. People go, at the point we're at right now, we're not afraid of doing it. We might get a little nervous. That doesn't take courage for us. When we first started doing it.
So you should be a little nervous before a fight or before a set because it shows you give a fuck. If not, I think you're crazy.
Yeah,
if you're
crazy, then there's no courage. There's no such thing. But to be courageous is to do something you're scared to do. Right? Would you agree with me
Absolutely.
there? And that's what I said to him. I said, with somebody, I said, you got to start walking away from stuff, my brother. I said, that takes more courage. I said, that's not weakness. And it's hard. I've been there. I still, at my age, see, and I'm 60 now too, bro.
Do you still look in the mirror and be like, I can't believe that happened to me?
I
mean, we all have that.
There's stuff. I go, not so much anymore because now I'm at the point where I just go, I know, if it's some crazy guy, I go, but there's some people I know who's just trying to press it. And I'll go, nah, this ain't, because I can't go home with that in my mind. I'm not going to fight him unless I have to because I can't anymore. If somebody gets me to the ground now, I'm done. I'm done. I used to be able to.
I don't remember too many times where I punked out and I was like beating myself up. I don't remember because
you were almost doing it that time when that guy took your meal.
Yeah,
that's what made you go back. You couldn't live with that.
I definitely said things that I'm like, why did I say that? So dumb. Like one time I was hanging out with these girls, right? Right?
Yeah, but that's
no,
kind of
this is a bad one. This is a bad one. This is a bad one.
You didn't get punched. They didn't take your meal. They didn't take your McDonald's.
They're having girl talk, but I'm in the mix, right? They're talking about guys, and they were like, one of them was like, yeah, so he's Dominican, and I'm dating him, and he's cool. And I was like, yeah, the thing about Dominican men, they're good lovers, but they're bad husbands. What straight man says that?
But you just wanted to. Well, that's right. A straight man wasn't saying it. We both know what happened. But that was all you were just trying to be in with the group. That's all that was. You can live with that.
The response that they gave me, like, was the nail in the like the nail in the coffin, because they looked at me like, because it sounded like I was one of the girls who slept with Dominicans, and I know, like, it was such a weird thing to say, and for months I was like, why did I say that? Like, I was mouthing it out, like, why did I say that?
So every time
I definitely heard it from another girl, but I wanted to fit in.
Sure. Yeah. So
And
every
then
time
I try to save face, but because I'm a quarter Dominican, that quarter of me I don't trust.
Now every time you hung out with that group again, I know you were practice. You're going, all right, I'm going to hang out with them. I'm going to say, you're right, and say, I'm going to say this shit.
Yeah,
like
some tough macho man shit.
Yeah, I wish a Dominican would. A Dominican would start some shit with me. Them good loving bad husband motherfuckers.
Right. It's so, like, there's things that. There's a compilation of things that we do and say that stick with you for years.
Oh yeah, but the ones that and I still remember the one. I mean, I remember the two things with probably guys like us, the ones that something we did stupid with women, and something we would stupid with guys that kind of made us feel punky.
Oh yeah.
They're the two things. There's not a lot. Like, I've said stupid stuff in like school, or had stupid answers to stuff. Stuff that I could just go, ah. You've been around your friends and just said something stupid, and they're all like, ah. Or even in a sport where you did, you missed the ball in the outfield or something.
Yeah.
But the worst too is like stuff I look back on it. Like when you're with a girl and you just say, if I only didn't say that stupid shit, I could have,
Like, give me one. Do you remember any?
With a girl, let me see. What the hell was like?
Talking to the mic.
I'm just trying to think of one. I can't think of any particular. I just remember
But like, there's always a few.
There's always like like where you're talking to a girl at a bar, and everything's going good.
And then you fuck it up.
All of a sudden you say, that's that one stupid thing. And when you said it too, because you can just see the look on their face.
And that's it. And they're done.
You're just going, you're talking all kinds of stuff. And, I live, and then you say something like, yeah, well, I'm in between apartments right now, but I'm staying with my mom.
Yo, dog, sometimes less is more. You've heard the cliche. I remember I was rolling on ecstasy, the tunnel. It was in the 90s. My boy, we meet these girls, and I believe they were like Filipina. They were a lot of fun. My boy's making out with one. We're not teens, early 20s. And I'm talking to the other girl, and I remember this. I'm rolling on E, and we're having a good time. We're like caressing each other's hands, talking, and we're about to kiss.
A dude?
No.
Oh.
Philippine woman.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah, that's you
it's
never
the 90s,
know.
The tunnel, West Side. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So check it out. Then I go into like I'm trying to work out a bit. This is before I'm doing comedy.
You're trying to work out a bit on her.
Yeah, like I think I'm funny. Like she's like, we're already holding hands, and then I start going, yo, you know what I would like? I would like to have a midget as a pet.
Is that what you said?
I told her that. She was like, what? I was like, yeah. Like I'll keep him like in a little kennel, and I'll have a little hamster water bottle for him, and cedar chips on the floor. And she's like, a what? What do you mean? And I was like, a midget.
And she was like,
yo.
And she started look, let me give you her hand kind of went like
yes, that's exactly right. Yo, she clenched like her bag, and she's like, I'm gonna use the bathroom. Yo, she took mad long, and I'm just like that, like going through my head, the stupid shit I said. My high is going down. I'm drinking mad water. I drank her drink. Like 15 minutes passed by. I see her talking to another dude by the bar. He's making her laugh. They're like holding hands. They're dancing.
Yeah, but she's probably a whore anyway. She went about that quick. I'll tell you one.
No, man. And then I go, like, then I intervene, and I'm like trying to, because we were hanging out all night. I fucked it up with my stupid midget joke.
Yeah, you should have. Well, your material fucks up your life right now. I'll tell you two that comes to, now that you made me think. I remember I had a motorcycle when I was 17. So I'd go around, doing whatever I was doing. I was in front of this place in my hometown called Uncle George's Hot Wiener, and it was this hot girl who worked there, and I knew her sister. So I'm talking to her sister. She said, my sister wants to go for a ride with you. And she might have been a couple years younger, maybe a year younger. I'm not sure. So maybe I was 17, she was 16. I remember I was driving around. As we were riding around, she was like rubbing my stomach and my chest. And I remember going to myself, I went, oh, this girl really, this could be something. And I remember she went, I have to go back to pick up her purse or something. She goes, I'll go back, pick up my purse, and we'll go do whatever. And I remember I went back and I got off, and her sister came out and started talking to me. And I still remember to this day. And as soon as I said I knew I was done, she went, what are you doing? I said, I think we're gonna go hang out, go for another ride. I go, you want to go for a ride? And as soon as the words came out of my mouth, her sister came walking out. I seen that look on her face, like, what are you doing? I'm here. I'm ready to go. And I just looked and I went, oh man. Why?
This is dumb.
Yeah, it was just like just trying to be nice. I was almost trying to endear myself to the older sister for the younger sister.
Did she take you up on the ride?
I already had. Yeah, of course. Of course, and I'm driving around with her, getting nothing.
Yeah.
This
is stupid. This is stupid. I had such a crush on this girl. She was a teacher. Right? And she was like...
Was she your teacher? Or?
No.
Oh.
She was just a teacher. She taught like 3rd grade. Which, by the way, every teacher I've dated has been very naughty. They're very naughty.
Oh, I'm going to tell you something, not to interrupt you, just so you know this. I was talking to this dude one time. I hooked him up with his wife, so I'd see him every once in a while. And I went, hey, how's everything? He's going, what are you up to? I remember one time I went to him, I said, he goes, you still dating that teacher? And I go, no. I said, I'm dating this girl right now. She's a nurse. And he goes to me, he goes, really? He goes, bro, he goes, I'll tell you. He goes, the best sex is with teachers and nurses. He goes, but they're all fucking crazy.
Why is
and let
that?
me tell you
is
something.
It the line of work? Because of high stress?
I don't know what it is. I've never seen a truer thing. I think with the nurses, why they're just so nasty is because they're just... They're used to dealing with nasty stuff all day long.
Teachers are out there too. Every teacher I've dated, I'm like they're borderline sex addicts.
Yeah, I don't know. That one, I mean, I'm sure there's a psychological reason behind it. I'm not quite sure what it is.
Maybe we're just idiots and we just dated some dirtbag. Well, they're not the dirtbag about it, but I just remember it was just like...
No. I think
there's something there,
I think it's universal. Yeah, I've heard. Nurses, I think I figured it out because they're just so used to being involved with...
Yeah, they see everything.
Yeah, they just seen everything, so nothing's over the top of them.
Yeah, they're not.
With a teacher, maybe because they're in that structured environment where they have to be, because you got to be straightforward to be a teacher. Yeah, you can't be doing weird shit.
Yeah, let your hair loose and have some Hennessy.
Right, and I think
ice.
that's what. Yeah, I think after that all day.
It's a lot. You're working with in those 8-hour blocks and with children and trying to be a good role model. Got let loose.
Yeah, and they do.
We hung out. I think it was shortly after her breakup. And everything that first hangout was dope. It was raining in the projects.
Everything revolves around the project. You ever notice that might be your problem, that you're hanging out in the projects too much?
We pull up at the project and we start making out in the project.
Were you in the bus or did you have a car?
No, she had an expedition. She had a big-ass truck. I think that was her ex-boyfriend. So I said, give me the keys to that. I'm confident. A couple of drinks in. I was very naughty, right? So I get the key. And she's like, check you out. Yeah. I drove her back home to the Bronx. Boom. And I'm driving the truck. I'm feeling myself, right? We get to her place. She's kind of in the middle of a move. So there's like boxes and whatever. And
probably wasn't even her house.
It's some shady shit going on. And she has these 2 big-ass Siamese cats. Like big, like 15-pound cats. And I walk into the apartment and they're just looking at me. And they were like named like Himalaya and Stasha or some shit like that.
Right.
We're kissing. We're getting hot and heavy.
You and the cats or you and
We're kissing. We're getting hot and heavy. The rain is hitting the AC, the window pane, right? And I'm on top, and out of nowhere, this putrid smell, this fucking enters my nose. I'm like, yo, what is that? She's gonna have the cat litter box in the bedroom because, with the move, they're stressed out.
Yeah.
So the cat took a shit, like a nasty shit. And I was like, let me clean it. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like trying to stay with it.
Right.
And she like moves the cat litter, she closes the door and we're going back in it. And, right now it's a little more work, because that shit took some time. She had to wash her hands,
Right.
Oh, one titty out type shit. you know how it is, right?
Yeah.
It's our first time together, so she's covering her belly button, one titty out, runs to the bathroom. And we close the door, and the cat starts to meow. Meow! And scratching the door. Like bad, bro. Bad. And she's like, oh, God. She's like, I'm just going to let them in. And now the cat's on the bed and by my feet. And I'm an animal person. I don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
Especially if we're doing some animalistic shit.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck, right?
You might get the animals involved.
Right. I mean, I'm not, listen, man.
They are Siamese cats.
So out of nowhere, the second, the thing that was cock blocking me, a fucking mosquito is in the apartment, in the room. And I got bit in the middle of my back. Like, bad. And I couldn't get the scratch.
Right. So you started getting...
Yeah.
She thought you were losing your mind.
I said, what's
Like
the
a
matter?
gorilla.
Yeah, what's the matter? And I'm like, yo, I think you have a mosquito, and it bit me in my head. I said, oh my God, it bit me too in my ear. Like, so now we're in the bathroom rubbing alcohol on our chest. And then that kind of ruined the mood because now the cat's by the pillow. And she goes, oh, my babies. And she takes both cats, nestles them by her chest, and starts kissing them on their heads like that. And I'm standing there with a flaccid penis, a condom in my hand, and that was it.
You just left.
And I slept with her, I cuddled with her and the cats for the rest of the night. Yeah, to this day, that shit was like over 20 years ago. I still think about that big old booty and not having sex with her.
Yeah. Messing up. I'll give you one. This is before I was doing comedy. I was over between 8th and 9th, and this was before 9th started being... Oh, you know where I was? I was at the W.
Okay.
I was at the W. You know where the W is? This was the W, was still a big club.
Oh, I thought it was a hotel, the W.
It is, but they had a club.
Okay.
They had a club
Is
downstairs.
this like the Flatiron? I mean, not the Flatiron. It's like Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah, it's before Hell's. I think
Hell's Kitchen's dirtbag. I love it.
Yeah, not anymore, though.
Hell's Kitchen is still dirtbag.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
very seedy.
Oh, okay. So I'm in a bar. I meet these two girls. They're there to see Cher. They're from Philadelphia. So the one, they're both hot. I go, come on over to W. I'd just been in the W, so I knew I could get them back into W for free. I think it was, you had to pay good money to get in back then. So it's hot. We're dancing. We're doing our thing. The one girl was telling me she just broke up with her boyfriend, and the other girl was just up for it. She was, I don't know if that was her thing, but she was away from Philadelphia. She was ready to party and have some sex.
She wants to have a good time.
Yeah, so they're talking to me.
With Schultis.
Yeah, with Schultis. So the one I see, I have no chance, but they invite me back to the hotel room. They wanted Coke. I didn't have Coke. I didn't do Coke. Didn't know really where to get Coke. So I still remember. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I don't know where. I'm not really from down here. I'm from upstate. I said, we'll get something to drink. Yeah, we'll get. All right. So no liquor store open at that time of night. So we stop in a bodega to get. I said, we'll get a 6-pack, bring it back to the room, decide what we're going to do there. So while we're in the bodega, I see the girl who's up for it, and now she's pissed off because she ain't getting Coke. And I see her talking to this dude, and he's showing her his abs. I don't know what they're having a conversation about. Now, what I should have done...
And he worked at the bodega?
I don't know what he was doing there. He was hanging out at the bodega. So what I should have done is went, yo, dude, what the fuck's going on here? We'll just back off. I got something going here.
Sure.
But instead, I was like, oh, no, hey, yeah, I don't know. You're in good shape, blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, I know an after-hours place around the corner. So I go, all right. So I kind of put the 6-pack in the bag. We go to the after.
So the guy's rolling with you now.
Now he's going to bring us to this after-hours place. So
and you're like in Midtown, West Side.
now we're on 9th.
Okay.
Now we're on about 9th and 40th, somewhere around there.
Yeah, a little after hours around there. Gotta be crazy.
So yeah, right. Back in 1998.
Yeah.
So we go.
There was a bunch of them.
Right. So I'm sitting at the bar. I'm having a drink. She disappears. This dude kind of disappears. So then she comes out maybe about 5 minutes later. And she comes, and I still remember this to this day. I'm having a drink. I don't know what I'm drinking, whatever I'm drinking at the time. I think it was a vodka guy back then. She walks up to me, and I could tell everything changed. And I swear to God, she looks at me, and this is exactly what she said. She goes, I don't know how to tell you this. She goes, I've met someone else. I went, what? She goes, I met someone else. I went, where? I went, we've been here for 4 weeks. Was there a guy mopping up the bathroom? What do you mean you met someone else? She goes, yeah, I met someone else. I'm going to be hanging with him now. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I went, you can't ask me to leave. This isn't even what's going on? But that was one of them. In my mind, I said to myself, if I only didn't stop at that bodega.
Yeah.
And
then you start replaying the night, all the time and money you put into it. It's a waste of fucking time. Like, come to my hotel, let's get the beer. And then, meeting this guy, like, it's just 8 hours probably.
Yeah, and it's always, you had it. It's something you do. You always had, and it was
There's something to be said about confidence and this really just moving, with
what's going on.
Yeah,
going
with what's going
flow.
on. And not overthinking shit and not being too wordy and just fucking putting the hammer down. Like, listen, this is what we're doing. But the moment you're like a little too floaty and letting other energies participate.
Yeah, get involved. Well, Chris Rock says it the best. And girls have told me this. They know within 60 seconds if they want to fuck you or not. What's the bit he does? He goes,
forgot. I remember
yeah,
something
he
along
just
those
goes,
lines.
he goes, I like him. He goes, I hope this motherfucker don't say something stupid.
So fun, so true.
It is. You talk yourself out of everything. Think, it's even the comedy world that we're in right now. Now, I got to say, we kind of started in the same place, and you took a little better path than I did. You hung around with Giannis and Chris and all those guys who were very.
But you stay busy.
Yeah, I know. I say, but you were already friendly with very successful. Good. They weren't successful at the time, but they were good comics. Then I kind of went the other way. See, I went with dudes who looked like they had something.
I was waiting for you to drop some
didn't.
names.
I'm not going to say the names because I've already lost friends. But we know the kind of people I'm talking about. And what happened? I got so involved with that aspect of it that it was like the lower echelon where you guys kind of went on a little different trajectory than I did. And it was a more successful, more, I don't know how you learned how to do comedy better. You did comedy better. You saw better comedy. You know what I mean? I didn't, but it's that thing. If I think back on that all the time, if I only would have, hung out with these guys, not got that. Because you remember, I bought that RV. I hung out with idiots because when I thought, I didn't know comics were so full of shit. So I remember when I first got into business, I was a couple of years in, comics going to me, man, I could set up a tour all across this country. I got if I had like an RV, you know what I did? 5 guys told me that. The next week, I went and bought an RV. I bought an RV, could not afford an apartment anymore, so I lived in my RV on the side of Central Park.
Oh my God! I didn't know it was that deep.
I went and lived.
What was the name of the company?
Mayhem and Madness.
Mayhem
you
and
remember
Madness.
the big RV I had?
Yes.
So I remember I got the RV. You remember I had the RV. I had the.
I didn't know you were living in there.
Yeah, I had it.
So you had equipment in there, and then you would do.
I had it set up with the Mayhem and Madness comedy tour. Blah blah blah. That week I went back. I went, I got that RV. Every one of them motherfuckers. Well, I didn't know you were going. I thought you said you had this. I remember all that stuff. It's not just with girls or with fight. I ended up fighting. I'll tell you one incident that sits in my mind to this day. You talk about going back. When I was in 5th grade, my father died when I was in 5th grade, so we traveled around that whole year. We're not far, but Nepal, Thailand, doing real dirtbag shit. I relived a dirtbag life there for about 3 years.
In Nepal?
Nepal, Thailand. I remember I had to go to still remember this day. I was in Highland Middle School. I remember I had a Scooby-Doo belt. It's the only belt. Scooby-Doo belt. We had one pair of pants that I wore every day for the first month of school. And we were playing kickball with that red.
Yeah, I love that
ball.
game.
Yeah.
I think that's why I got bunions.
Yeah, from kicking the ball. So,
but it was soft.
Yeah, it was not. If somebody didn't throw him from 3 feet away, hit you square in the face with it.
Yeah.
And I remember I forget I was doing something. The kid was saying something wise, making fun of me, and he hauled off and threw that ball from me to you away. And I still remember Butchie Finch going, yo, he hit him right in the fucking face. And I remember I just let it go because I was new. Then I was a little bit soft when I was that age. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really, it wasn't to the point now where I was punching people in the face for doing outrageous shit. I still, with that, I wake up sometimes. Bro, I'm going to be 60. I'm going to be 60 in another 3 months. I'll wake up in the morning sometimes after like a bad dream or just a little and that's the first thought that comes to my mind. I went, I can't believe I let that motherfucker go.
that
was
is
in
wild.
5th grade.
Yeah. Those are formidable years,
Yeah,
man.
if I could go back, that's one of the things, if I could go back to correct, I think it would help me. I'm almost 60 years old, and I think of that, which meant nothing. Those people don't remember.
And everyone goes through that. That's the thing. Everyone goes through that as part of growing up, But yeah, at some point you gotta let go. And for years,
you would think I'd be able to.
Yeah, why is that? Why?
I don't, because I think it was so degrading to me.
Yeah, but
I think it was
the thing is,
so degrading as a human being
no one's
to me.
exempt from that sort of treatment in one way or another.
Right.
Like we all experienced that. When I was young, I had a kid just take my hat. I said, give me that shit, and then walked away. And then for years following that, it affected me. I was like, oh, this guy just took my hat in front of my friend.
Right,
and I didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So for years. But immediately, there's just to follow, I started behaving differently. I started, who knows, that's probably one of the many reasons why I picked up boxing, whatever. But now I look back at that, I'm like, oh, that sucked. But I don't think about it like that anymore.
Well, only that incident, because there was bullies in my neighborhood that would do stuff that made me, one guy spit in my face and stuff, but they were like older guys I could really do nothing about. I could do nothing about. Now, it bothers me. That kind of stuff bothers me because I think back, I remember these guys talking bullshit, talking about stuff, and even as a young kid going, these guys are so, and you just go along with it because they would bully you. Just go, oh yeah, what you're saying is correct. That I can live with because that's just part of. It's part of. There's always going to be somebody more dominant than you. You were a kid at the time. You're a different person. I'm not that kid I was back then. I think one of the reasons that particular one just sticks with me and eats at me so bad is because I could have so easily done something about it, and it would have changed the whole spectrum of how people looked at me, and that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
get
all I really had to do is when he hit me with that ball, if I would have just immediately hauled off and punched him square in the face, it would have, and that's all it would have took. Nothing bad would have came from it. That's all it would have took. Instead, but I remember even at the time, the feeling that it gave me slithering away. My face was burning.
Yeah, man.
My face was burning from getting hit with the ball. I mean, he threw it from me to you away as hard as he could. I remember my friend just go, oh, he hit him, right?
Who names that kid Butchie?
I don't think that was his real name.
I would believe that some kid would be his real name. Some kid in upstate named Butchie.
Oh yeah. Butchie Peck was his name. I still remember it. Man, they were just. I'm sure they were talking about it. Like I slinked away. I'm sure they were going, "Yo, Joe just hit Rich." He was like 2 feet away. What'd he do? He didn't do nothing. And that's what it got. That's what it got as I got older. I would let stuff build up, and I think that was one of the sicknesses I had. Instead of taking care, I look back of dudes that I could have kicked the shit out of when I was like in 7th and 8th grade, and I just didn't because everybody just said, "Oh, that's the tough guy." That's and you look back, all it was all reputation. The guy never did anything but, pick on people that he could get away with. And then when I got to a certain age, I think when I got to be about 17, 18, I started punching people in the face. And I got to tell you, it worked out beautifully. I don't let anybody. It's like Hunter S. Thompson. They were interviewing him one time, and he said, "What's your perspective on violence?" He goes, a lot of people say violence gets you nowhere. He goes, "That's 100% not true." And he's right, because if you're, and I'm not saying you should be going out and just beating the shit out of people or using your physicality to dominate things, but if somebody's going to talk to you in a certain way or act a certain way or do certain stuff to you because they know there's no repercussions, they're going to do it. But if they know that they might get a backhand in their mouth, they're going to watch how they talk to you, watch how they act to you, watch how they treat you. And that's the truth, man.
And other people, too. So someone needs to do it, right?
Right. It's
Someone
always
down
that
the line.
one, that guy. And I got to tell you, I look back, I hardly ever got my ass actually kicked because I was very fast, so I would do do stuff and run away from it. And then I got where I was a pretty good fighter. I actually got what I was like, in my early 20s and stuff like that. I could fight pretty good. So I wasn't, I was getting away with it.
You were elusive.
But I should have if I would have got my ass kicked a couple more times, it would have been, and not bullied. Bully's a different thing. Somebody's bullying you, it's a different thing than you acting like a fool and getting your ass kicked. But if I would have got my ass, somebody would have batted me in my mouth a couple more times, I would have been a different human being. Because I tell people, I only became a human being like 3 or 4 years ago. And barely. I'm not kidding you. I would think stuff and do stuff and act in a certain way. Now I just don't do it because
Well, your behavior was deplorable?
You see me, yeah.
No.
But I tell you, that being said, you did some deplorable shit.
No,
we did some shows together, and you did some deplorable.
What, like the time we performed at Poughkeepsie, and
you got drunk as shit and was eating chicken like a friggin' gorilla?
That was bad, right?
Then I brought you into Kingston. You started looking to get high.
Yeah, man, that was bad.
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay,
But do you agree with me that somebody every once in a while somebody getting smacked in the face, someone getting, even these dudes that you see, I've seen some dudes bully girls, which I just don't like stuff they say to girls. Like I was with a friend who's a comedian, and I lost respect for him after this. He was a fake tough guy. There's a lot of fake tough guys. I remember we were walking over in Queens, and this Asian girl walked past, and she had a nice body on her. And he went, loud enough so she could hear it at her almost. So she just walked.
He was a comic?
Yeah, he went, they didn't have titties like that back in my day. And I was just like, bro, what are you doing? Because she wasn't going to say anything back. She was going to be intimidated, 2 guys. Him with the, acting tough guy. I go, why would you? I said, that's bullying in the worst way. Why would you do something like that?
That's some supreme dirtbag shit.
But if he had said that and she had stopped and smacked him square in his fuck, I guaranteed he would have thought twice about doing that again. Or if some dude would have stopped and went, yo, man, why are you talking to somebody like that? I see it all the time. And now I'll step up when it needs to be stepped up. Like, yo, bro, calm down, shut up and stuff, And I can get away with it a little bit, I think, because I'm older and people don't want to, beat up an older guy. But, there's a lot of times I think in my life, man, that guy really needs, and now the culture is different. It used to be that somebody would get smacked in the face, usually because somebody was intimidated by him, wrongly or right, whatever, they had a rep or whatever. Now there's dudes who are in their 20s and 30s who's never in their whole life had that thought in their head when they're talking to somebody in a certain way or acting in a certain way. They never had that thought, well, this guy might smack me in the mouth.
Right.
They never had that thought. I can tell they're talking. I'll see some younger guy you can tell has, nothing behind what he's saying. You could, even at my age, you'd be, and he's talking to somebody with a degrading tone, and I'm going, how is he getting away? And not even a thought. You can tell just by the way there's not a thought in his mind that this guy he's talking to is going to turn around and just smack him in his fucking mouth and go, who do you think you're talking to? That thought because it's never happened.
It's never happened.
It's never happened, and it's. I think it's a dangerous place to be.
It is a dangerous place because you gotta realize that there's some fire. You're playing with fire. And you have no idea that you are.
Right,
you know
that's it. Right,
you know what I'm saying? You have no concept. Like you gotta understand, people are capable of some dirt,
horrendous stuff.
Yeah. So you gotta be careful how you speak and how you carry,
how you act. Yeah, it's incredible. I see it all the time.
There's a lot. It feels good. Like I'm very these days I'm very together and I don't react. I don't overreact to situations, but every now and then it feels good to be a little heavy-handed and lean into something, especially when you got conviction behind it and you're right.
Yeah,
that feels good.
Yeah.
So recently, I had a fan, who was helping with clips, with promo clips, and he was incompetent. He was irresponsible. He was a dirtbag.
Right, but thought he was helping you,
and he was fine at the beginning. Now listen, it could be drugs. It could be, I don't know. I never met him. He lives in another state.
The new broom sweeps cleanest. You know that. you know that saying? It means it's like when you first come in and start doing everything.
Right, exactly.
You're doing it right, and then all of a sudden,
So he does a couple of clips. He doesn't even want money. I said, no, I'm gonna pay you. So I give him.
Gotta pay him.
Gotta pay him.
You gotta give somebody something.
Yeah, man. I said, yeah.
Because then you owe him. You don't want to owe anybody.
So but he's a little bit pushy.
Right.
And he wants to FaceTime and shit. I'm like, nah, we don't need to do that. With text, I'll let you know what I need. Before I know it, he's a little short with the clips. Yeah, he wants to FaceTime. Like, I'm 42, so I'm not going to FaceTime with a 20-year-old kid. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And, he's overly eager. He's, the energy is a little strange, a little off, but whatever.
Right.
I've been with all types of personalities.
Right.
So I'm paying him. Slowly but surely, the work quality starts to decrease.
Right.
It's
falling off.
It's falling. And I'm asking for clips. I'm not asking. It's like a 30-second, 60-second clip with text on it. So it's not like rocket science.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it either. That's why I'm paying someone in another state to do it.
But it can be done quickly and easily.
Yeah, and so he asked for like an advance. He's like, oh, I'm in the airport. I need money. And can you send me money? And I owe you 4 clips. Can you really do this for me? Sounds like some like almost like kind of like he has a problem with drugs.
Right.
But you know what? I'm not one to judge. I'm taking it for face value. I Venmo him the money. I say, yeah, sure. Now you owe me 4 clips. It's fine. I don't hear from him for weeks. I don't hear from him. And then I'm trying to catch up with him about the clips. And the clips are half-assed now. Like they're like too small. They're a day late. All the bullshit.
Right.
Long story short, the relationship fizzles out. I got family problems. I'm working too much. I thought I sent you the clip. Oh, so it's 1,000,001 excuses.
Right.
He recently hits me up. And he says, yo, I'm back, 100%, I'm all yours. I'm thinking of moving to New York. I was like, yo, slow down. He says, I'm the reason why you know what good clips are. I'm like, what? I said, dude, and now it's my time to to put this shit in order, right?
Yeah, right.
I was like, dogs, you ain't.
So you are slapping him in the mouth, not physically.
Yeah,
but
I was like,
in the mouth.
hold the fuck up. You were irresponsible. You were incompetent, and and you're fucking wrong coming out like this. He says, oh, you're mad. I was like, I'm not mad, but you're mad annoying.
Right.
Because, it's one thing, I'm mad patient with someone who has a problem, whether it's mental illness, drug-related. Because I've seen it all. I'm part of that. I get that. I got friends, whatever. All that's all good. The thing that got me was the sense of entitlement. Like, he wrote, I said, you haven't gotten back to me in months. And then you're going to come out of nowhere. I think you might even still owe me a clip. He said, I got a life, and I got other things going on, and I have family. I said, you got mad excuses. Every time you have mad fucking excuses. So you're wrong, and we're moving on. Like, the relationship didn't work, and that's it. And we're talking about fucking, promo clips. The fact that I let this shit get it, but it felt good. This is something. Yo, dogs, you're just incompetent and you're irresponsible and you're fucking wrong. Because he's a young kid that thinks that he was doing this
big favor for you.
Big favor, dogs.
Yeah.
I didn't saw you out. You saw me out. You were looking for work.
And now, yeah.
I never reached out to you.
Right. Well, you get a lot of that in our business.
Oh God, so weird.
When I started out, and again, my tree branch kind of went in the wrong direction. I wasted a lot of time, like you said. I wasted a lot of time in the comedy business, and like you said, I do okay. I get a lot of gigs, but I should be in another spot. And part of it is I started too late. I started when I was 42. How old are you?
I'm 42.
Yeah, so I started when I was your age. I was just you're already kind of in. People know what you're doing. I was kind of, what are they going to do with a 42-year-old?
That's all perspective, man.
Yeah, I guess, but none of the clubs are going to try to push you along.
The clubs ain't shit, though.
And none of the younger comedians. I was an older guy with the comedians back then. So, but my branch with I tried to do too much myself, and I was doing stuff because people gave me the bullshit. Like, you're getting bullshit. The same thing with the RV. Like I said, 5 people. Next week, I can start. I got an RV, bro. I still remember. Got it right.
Yeah.
I remember going to him. I go, remember you said about got it right outside. Come look. Oh, this is great. Yeah, 2-3 people can sleep here. I said, I got it all. It's good. You got it ready. Just said it. Yeah, they're all full of shit. But I remember I was trying to get assistance when an assistant when I first started, because I knew nothing about. I didn't know Facebook. I didn't know all that stuff. That stuff was and it was computers back then to me. My life was already set. Now I know computers. I know, because you learn. I didn't know nothing. And I remember I was getting gigs. I started producing gigs. I was getting good, decent gigs. I brought you on some gigs. You got drunk and high and ate chicken like a gorilla. But so I would bring in these newer comics that were just starting out, who were supposedly going to do the video clips, whatever needed to be done technically. I couldn't do, even on Facebook, doing the stuff on Facebook. I didn't know how to do any of that. This was for Instagram. Didn't know how to do that. And I remember the one girl, she was young and cute, would always show up without a computer. She didn't have a computer. She'd take the notes of what needed to be done. I would buy a meal or whatever. She'd go back. If I had some shows, I got her on shows. This went on for about, I would say about 3 months.
But she wasn't doing the work.
Wasn't doing anything. She was just taking the notes. Really wasn't doing anything. Very, very little. Now that I look back and know how little she was doing, I mean, next to nothing. So I don't know how long she was doing comedy before that, but then she started doing it with me. Within that 3 month period, she got 4 paid gigs. In a 3 month period, 4 paid gigs. Got to travel on the road, seeing what it's all about. Now, before that, she never had a paid gig. She was doing the mics and, the shit shows around town.
Uh-huh.
I see her about 2 years later, and this is when I started getting a lot of more stuff. I was getting, a lot more stuff. So she goes, I see you're doing stuff. And she goes, I was joking with her. She was doing a show in town, one of them non-paid shows in town. I go, you never asked me to do that show. She goes, well, you never asked me to do any of your shows anymore. I went, you were my assistant. You got to do the shows. She goes, yeah. She goes, you just wanted me to do all the work for free. And I remember she said that, and I should have said to her, before I met you, you never had a paid gig. I said, in 3 months, you had 4 paid gigs. And that was the arrangement. Yeah, you had 4 paid. I got you 4 paid gigs. I said, as far as I know, you've never had a paid gig since. After 2 years.
Yeah.
I said, you never actually did any work. And yet, in her mind, I was trying to get something out of her for free. And the arrangement was just like you said, do this, do this stuff. But it's
bonkers. It's bonkers.
Yes.
That's I mean, I don't know if that's a generation thing. Or maybe it's not. I don't want to pick on younger people.
I think it's a person thing.
I think it's a person. There's dirtbags out there, and the entitlement thing kills me. Like, you saw me out, and in this case, whatever, you could have saw her out. But that's the arrangement,
right?
And like, what the
and if
fuck?
you don't want to do it, but now I'm the best at that stuff.
Yeah.
We say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Okay, you start not doing that, I'm the first one to go, hey, listen. This isn't work. No, I'm going. No. You said you were going to do this. Obviously, you don't want to do this, or you can't do this. I give them the out. You don't want to do it. You can't do it. Either way, doesn't matter. No hard feelings.
Right.
No hard feelings.
That's the thing. Like, if you can't do it, don't do it. And I've been dealing with that a lot. Like, don't say you can do it, and if you can't do it.
Well, a lot of people will say, and I got good. Dudes who, have good intentions. You're talking, that sounds great. Let's do that. Now I know they're never, just from my dealings with them. Now I go, we're supposed to do this and you couldn't do it. I know you're not going to do it.
Yeah, people are full of shit.
Yeah. But at the minute they're saying it, they think they're going to do it. They believe they're going to do it. Hey, let's, get together. Why don't you get out these flyers out? We'll talk to these guys, do this. All right, you talk to them. Hey, did you get those flyers? Nah. I got a girl right now.
Us talking about this, it reminds me, we're going to close out soon.
Yeah, you get a lot of time out of me.
Yeah.
Where's my phone? Didn't I have a phone when I walked in?
Sky, man. Losing his fucking phone.
I just had it in my hand. You made me put it down?
No, it's in your jacket.
Oh. Right,
so one of the first shows we did together.
I can see the time right there.
One of the first shows we did together.
You and I?
Yeah, it was not far from here in the Flatiron District. It was a bar it was upstairs and it had purple backdrop, and the stage was like there was a balcony or something, and most of your audience were blind.
Oh,
What the fuck?
We used to do a show
On
with
23rd
Yeah,
Street.
Jimmy Q. Right,
Yeah.
we used to do it at the Limerick House.
Limerick House. Yo, dogs, my first heckler ever was a blind dude.
That shows you how bad your material was. He just heard that shit and then it's funny because apparently, you got a good memory. I forgot all about this. Apparently there was a right down there off of 23rd and 6th, there's a big building there that caters to all blind people live there. And if you notice down there, they got all around that area there, they got a
Everything's
special
Braille.
they got a special crosswalk that has the signal. It has the audio signal on it, the timer that they know what's going on. A guy had come into that. It's funny. A guy had come into that show. He brought his friends one night. That must have been the night you were there. Get this. This gets even better.
He was blind.
Yeah. This gets even better. After they came in, he went down to where that building is, and they all live there. And I guess they have a little entertainment room and stuff like that where they do bands and stuff like that. He gets us a gig there to perform in front of blind people, all blind people. So we go in there. It's Pat Dixon. Pat Dixon will still tell you stories. Pat Dixon, myself, Jimmy Q, maybe one other person there. I don't even know who was there. So we go in, and we're doing the show, and they didn't like Pat. They did not
I
like
wonder
Pat.
why.
I don't know, but they did not like Pat. At the end of the show, I went up there. They were actually coming at me, like while I was doing my act, but they're blind. They can't sort of come. When people are blind, they can't see. So they start coming at me. So I'm kind of doing the act, and there's 3 or 4 blind
Walking
people
to you like zombies.
right at me. Yeah. So I'm kind of like I'm looking at, Jim McConnell, what's going on here? They start hugging me. Pat Dixon will tell you. They start you're the best.
Oh,
We love you. Thank you for you're so. And I remember
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
You had to clean up Pat Dixon's mess.
Right, so we're leaving.
Why didn't he close the show? You were closing out?
I think he did close the show. I think I went on first and was hosting, but I was doing stuff afterwards and still talk because they liked me so much they wouldn't let me. They were like talking to me. It's just when I first started too. So, but I remember they were like hugging me, and I remember we were going out. Every time I talked to him after that. As a matter of fact, I did his show not too long ago. He has the podcast with the Crime Report, New York Crime Report. And he's going, yeah. He'd introduced me. He goes, this guy is his act is very popular with the blind. But it's funny, you're right. That show you did. There was a bunch of. We did a lot of hard shows together. Remember that one we did over in Brooklyn? In front of that crowd of, they're all half racist. They're all
my God,
they're all
that's
Irish, Italian iron workers.
Wait. So before we close out, I've actually told the story before. People ask, what's one of the hardest shows? I remember I was asked to do Laugh Lounge, which is 2 blocks away from where I live. I was standing in front of there, but I'm a fucking loyal dude. So Soul Joe, I love Soul Joe, but it's had me booked for the Wicked Monk.
The Wicked Monk.
In Bay Ridge.
That's it.
I take an hour and a half cab ride, $67 because there's a fucking accident. I leave a packed show at a real comedy club where I had a spot to meet Rich. And
we didn't know each other then, right?
We knew each other. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that was our first time meeting. And boy, did I leave a horrible impression because Rich is up. There's 4 audience members. There's 2 construction workers at the end, drinking whiskey, and there's a couple. And the light is still beaming in through
But
the
there
glass.
was guys at the bar too, though, right?
There was 2 guys in the bar. It was a long bar. It was 2
I
guys,
thought there was
and there was
more
a
people
couple
there.
and that's it. And I go up, and I'm doing a bit or whatever.
Your Puerto Rican bullshit.
Yeah, whatever. Some bullshit that they didn't like. And then I started talking about construction workers. And I remember, it's 4 people. There's nothing we can do, right? And, I'm also green. So it's just a tough situation. But I remember I was making fun of construction workers. And they were construction workers, at the end of the bar. And he's like, yeah, you might want to leave through the back. Remember that? And what I said, wait. Don't tell me that sounds like a threat. I promise you, I'm gonna leave it through. Do you remember that? I promise. I said I'm leaving through the front. I said if there's one thing I am sure of is that I'm leaving through the front. I might not be funny tonight, but I'm leaving through the front. and then they could cut that section with a knife.
Yeah. Which I kind of like. I kind of would like. But you know who else had a rough one there one time?
That place is awful.
Oh yeah, Giannis had a rough one there one time too.
Oh, the place is awful.
Yeah. For some reason,
Yo, Joe.
For some reason, I always did all right in those type of environments. I think for some reason, people like that think that I am them. You know how many people come up to me and start talking some racist bullshit? I mean, the N-word flying and stuff. Just I don't mind. I think it's you know.
You think those guys? If you can remember correctly, you think that was There was a racist tone in that.
Yeah, I would believe.
I would think. I felt like because I was Puerto Rican, they didn't like me.
I think,
but I could be wrong. I don't know.
think no, because I remember Freddie Rubino did that room, and he was doing. Freddie Rubino's not a racist, but he has that hardcore. Union Italian stuff, which people can mistake as being it's not. It's just conservative way of thinking, and they would love him. They would love him there. So I think that was. I don't know so much racism. I think it's just a certain way of thinking.
It wasn't. There was no connection. There was also like four guys drinking.
Right. Yeah. But everybody, hey. In your defense, everybody had a hard time.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Most people didn't get threatened to get beat up like you did, but
they didn't threaten to beat me. You're right, that was kind of a threat. You don't want to leave to the front.
Yeah,
and I left to the front.
You know what kind of threat that is? That's the kind of threat that people are used to getting away with saying, and no one calling them on their bullshit.
Yeah.
And
I left
a
to
lot
the
of
front.
people would have left. A lot of people would have left out the back.
Yeah, no, I fucking left to right. And I remember like a little smirk. And he was smoking a cigarette, but I was like It's so annoying to be involved in something you like so much and have ugly experiences like that, right? Like, you love this shit.
Bro, and you think that's your worst? That was your worst?
Honestly,
really?
It's one of my worst. And, like, I have, like, 3 or 4, but that was one of my worst. Yeah, that was a long time ago. That's over 10 years ago.
You know what that's like? The kid who hit me in the face with the kickball. You can't get over it.
I talk about it with the same passion.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you know it's real.
Yeah, it annoyed
I've had mine.
But I also...
you know what? I got to be honest. If that was one of your worst ones, you're lucky.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, because I've had... Bro, I can think of 5 right off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I haven't had that many. Knock on wood.
Way worse than that one.
Like, I never had someone really... approach me with violence for real. I mean, I know people who have knives pulled out on them.
Oh, I never had that. I had to do it in Florida. We
Florida?
got time for one more?
Yeah, one more, and then we'll close out.
I'm in Florida. Well, I do. Well, I'll do one. I won't tell the story, but there's one with if you ever get Sean Cornelius. Ask him about the time we went to Boston and my back was out. That was horrific, bro. I've been on stage before, where things were kind of going bad, and I felt nervous. I was on stage. My mouth got so dry, and that's never happened. My mouth got so dry. Actually, in my mind, I was going, I'm not going to be able to talk in another 3 minutes.
Oh shit!
Oh, it was the worst. But we were in. I was in Florida one time. I was doing a weekend at the Laugh-In Cafe. So the guy says, "You going to be here Wednesday?" Because I was booked Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You going to be here Wednesday? He goes, "Yeah." And I know the guy. He's a friend of mine. He goes, "If you want," he goes. We're having a contest Wednesday. He goes, if you want to come in to just close out the show while we're tallying up the results, he goes, I'll give you a couple bucks, but you can eat and drink. I go, yeah, I'm in town anyway. We like to get on stage. We don't care. So I go up, and no one's really listening. Place is packed. No one's really listening because the contest is over. Everybody's talking about their friend that was in the contest. All the people bring, blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to bring the place together. You know, when you're on stage, you're kind of thinking, how can I get people to listen to me? So somebody I said something, and some guy, who's a big guy, who's probably a couple years older than me at the time, goes, he suck his dick, that's what you do, or something like that. And I go, what? So I go, now I got to give you a little backstory on it. I didn't know up until that point. I guess this guy was in the contest. And
he was a comic?
Yeah, he was, but new one. Not really a comic. Some guy who just did the he probably, maybe his first time.
Probably
maybe
his
first time. Yeah. So he, I guess he was an older guy, got up on stage. When I say older guy, he was probably what my age is right now, 59, 60, but was obviously older and was talking about an 18-year-old and younger girl sucking his dick, stuff like that. So that was his whole act. I guess no one liked him. So I go,
Dirtbag.
what? He says, I think I go, well, that's a. Now people are listening because me and this guy's having a little back and forth. No one likes him. So I go, and I don't know this time. I go, well, that's an odd response. I go, that's how you get out of a precarious situation. You suck a dick. So every joke I did after that, I would go, except this guy, he'd suck a dick. So now he's getting fucking pissed. I'll kick your ass. And the crowd is laughing.
Yeah, they're with you.
With me beyond. The guy the owner didn't know what was going on. Afterwards, he's going, what the hell went on in there? No one's ever gotten the crowd like that. So he's going, I'll get up and I'll kick your ass. And it's like his girlfriend's holding him off. And I'll go, well, let's face it. If you get up, I went, your intention will be to kick my ass, but you'll end up sucking my dick. Loses his shit, so he comes running up to the stage. And now he's pretty big because I'm on the stage, which is probably 18 inches high, and he's still coming up to my chest. So he's going, I'll kick your ass. I said, oh, bro. I said, just so you know. I said, just so you know. I said, this is all joking right now. I said, you step up on that stage. I said, the joking's going to be over. We're going to, now we're both men once you step up on that stage. He goes, yeah, I ain't going to step up on that stage. I'll see you outside. So he starts like storming outside as he walks away. I go, yeah, okay, wait out there. I said, I'll be out there in I'll be out there in about 5 minutes. And I hesitate and I go, so you can suck my dick with a fucking crowd. The crowd goes crazy. He's turning around. They're like, oh, I'll kill you.
Oh my
God. He's
God.
going nuts. So
he's having a fucking fit.
Yeah, nuts, going crazy. So I'm sort of like, you know how I am. I'm not afraid, obviously. Yeah. And I kind of like almost like poking the bear. So I'm like, they all love me. So I'm getting off the stage and I'm going to go out and sell my T-shirts because I have the rest. And they're going, hey, he's out there waiting for you. He's storming around. He's telling me, they're going, what are you going to do? Like, they think I'm going out the back door. What are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go out, set up my T-shirts. I said, have a smoke. And I said, and then that's exactly what I'm going to do, nothing else. So they're going, really? I go, he's out there. He's telling everybody. I go, he ain't going to do shit. They went, you think so? I said, I'll say any amount of money you want to bet right now, he ain't going to do shit. So I walk out. As I walk out, he's storming up and down doing his pace. And I kind of catch him out of the corner of my eye. So I can see he's waiting to see what I'm going to do. Like he thinks I'm going to jet back in. I still like put my T-shirts down. I light a cigarette. And I just lean against things smoking like this. You know what he did? Nothing. But talk about people charging the stage. He was just about.
Yeah.
He was that close to coming up.
And he would have got clipped.
Yeah, he might beat my ass for all I know, but you know how that is. Just like you were going out the front door. So was I.
I love it. My man Rich,
right.
Man. Yo, what
fun.
I thought
we were going to talk about boxing.
I know. We went off the rails, and Marshall is going to be pissed at me because we're 20 minutes over.
Oh, really?
It's okay. It's been a long time since I've seen you, and we went off the rails again. Sorry.
And what do you do? Do you clip these down, or do you?
Yeah, we're gonna have to shave it down a little bit to like
Okay.
an hour and 10. That's the DBS podcast. Subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. My man Rich Schultis. Where can they find you at?
They can find me at richschultis.com. They can find me on Instagram at Rich Schultis. Facebook is Richard Schultis. I'll be at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club tomorrow night. I'll be at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club on Saturday night, and I'll also be at Broadway tomorrow night.
Well, that information is not valuable because this episode doesn't come out till next week. So go to the website, and I'll put all the links on the description so you can follow my man Rich. We out of here. Peace. I mean, it's always going to be Dirtbag Shit Podcast. The DBS Podcast.